back to the channel. This is Aranda here, my best life Paraguay. And today we're going to be checking out something different, right? So if you guys don't know, you probably do know by now, at least folks who follow me. But I am adopted, right? I was adopted in 1991 from here in Paraguay. And I lived my whole life in the United States until recently when I moved here to Paraguay about a year ago. Okay. So anyway, I saw a very interesting post pop up on the Ties program's Facebook page here. And if you guys don't know what the Ties program is, they're kind of a reuniting service. Well, here, let's go up to the top. The heritage travel. So basically, they help coordinate when adoptees want to get to know their roots and even get to know their families, right? If it's possible for them to meet their families, right? So they help adopted children from all around the world reconnect, right? They're a wonderful organization. I was a little bit critical of them because the extent of what I knew about them is they offered these vacation kind of packages that you would go for about a week, be in a big group. And I was just critical because they seemed really expensive, at least to come here to Paraguay. And, I didn't feel that there was enough one-on-one time. But where I was wrong was that I met an individual relatively recently named Javier, and he actually went through the Ties program, and they very much do more personalized trips and personalized work with individuals, right? So they do stuff beyond the tourism package stuff, right? So they did a ton for Javier, for him to come meet his family down here in Paraguay. He's right around my age, in his 30s, right? And so they were wonderful in coordinating all that, getting everything set up for him to do so. And he successfully met his siblings, right? Or a sibling, I believe. And I just want to, because I know I was a little bit more critical just because, I understand pricing down here, and I have for quite a few years. And I just thought that it was a little bit too expensive, but at the same time, I do understand that they're doing very good work, especially on the individual level. Again, I'm not trying to take away from anything else, but overall, the Ties program is a wonderful organization, and follow them. If you come across my video, it's going to be a very different video. I am talking about adoption related stuff. Also, because this all popped up because I saw a post, right? It had to do with mental health awareness and adoptees, right? And honestly, here it is, 3 days ago. And honestly, it really took me back. So first of all, I'll start just reading the hashtags down here. Hashtag mental health awareness, hashtag adoptee voices, the Ties program, heritage travel, and adoptee wellness, right? And honestly, before I get into all this stuff, these conversations were not happening when I was a kid, right? They just weren't. And so for there to even be like tying in mental health with the complexities of raising adopted children, international adopted children at that, who you're most likely going to look different than your family, most likely look different than people in your society, but at the same time, you're not really part of any sort of bigger community, because so you don't have those cultural references to kind of fall back on, so it's different than being a first generation immigrant, right? Where you have your family, a wider community that you're able to relate to, etc. You feel incredibly on your own, right? And on top of that, you have people who don't understand you, all the way from when you're a very young child to your adult years. And then when you get to your country, then there's the next level of people not understanding you either, right? A lot of people may think that you had it great because you grew up in America, but they don't understand your internal struggles, or they don't understand your societal struggles, that kind of thing, right? And again, this is not to just like say like, oh, we're just these like ultimate victims. No, not at all. In fact, a lot of us grew up in wonderful, caring, loving families, right? Which was my case. I'm just saying that there are very complex things that you go through, pretty much feeling as very alone. I mean, when you're growing up. So when I randomly saw this post pop up, kind of took me back, right? And then, excuse me, I'll put on my glasses because I look at the screens far too often. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So I saw this post. Sorry. So I saw this post here, and it began, and whoever posted this, number one, great job. Great job to whoever's in marketing or running your social media stuff. I love it when posts open up with quotes and just kind of grab your attention. So wonderful job, really, truly. So the first thing that stuck out to me was, quote, the first quote is, "We're your real parents," you know? And that one hurts as a kid, right? Because you don't know how to fucking answer that. How are you supposed to answer that? You know? And also it's, what do you mean by real? You know? My adoptive parents are very much my real parents, you know? No matter if we don't see eye to eye on everything, or if we do or not, right? But they're the ones who, you know, were my parents, and always will be, right? And so that one really hurts, right? And then also it's kind of like, well, what's the opposite of real? Fake? Where are my fake parents? You mean biological? Yeah. So, and I know that a lot of people, they don't think twice before they speak. So they'll just start saying shit. But something as simple as that, point over here, something as simple, right, as somebody not thinking, but them asking you, where are your real parents? When you hear that shit over and over and over, right? Not only are you remembering that, yes, you were left somewhere, abandoned, no matter what reason, but you know, you very much were left for adoption for some reason or other. You have to remember that. Then you have to recognize that people aren't fully accepting you where you're at in your family, right? So especially as young boys, you can really grow up thoughts of resentment towards people, right? And then, you know, especially in your adolescent years, luckily I had outlets like boxing and American football and stuff like that. But some people don't have those outlets, younger boys, and they can really get into to harm, right? Beyond mental health. I mean, like, you know, acting up, fighting, fucking up in school, getting bad grades, not progressing well because your whole life you feel you don't belong anywhere, right? Even you could even be from one of the most loving, caring families, but the deep internal stuff, you know, you're working on. And actually, beyond that, you still go through all the life stuff that everybody else does, right? And societal stuff, you know. So, you know, when you're still a young man, trying to figure out your place in the world, if you're going to college or not, or what you're supposed to do for work, or you're struggling with money or girlfriends, or even getting a girl in the first place, or anything like that. And then you throw on this extra layer of stuff on top of that, of not belonging, about not knowing where to go. If you haven't met your biological family, or if you don't even know if you're able to, or there's money standing in the way because your country of origin, as far as Paraguay, is 6,000 to 7,000 miles away, or you're from Southeast Asia or something like that, or Africa or wherever in the world. you know, it can really build up in your mind that, damn, like what am I supposed to do next? Right. So I was 21 years old when I met my family, my biological family here. Damn, a good 13 years ago. Right. And so, it took a lot. And then, like I always talk about, after you meet your family, that's when a whole new journey starts, right? That's where a whole new thing of, okay, now what? Now do I take on the responsibilities of being a brother, of being a son, of being a cousin, of being an uncle in many cases, because we're often in our young adult years, and there's a very good chance that you may have nieces and nephews that you will love and you will start to create a sense of responsibility for, especially if they're little spitting images of you and you want to see them well in the world. So you have 10,000 extra questions after that, right? But okay, let's go back to this post. Okay, I know I went off, but the next thing that it says, why were you adopted? When you're growing up, you don't fucking know. Hell, you could even, in my case, I even came here and heard multiple different versions of one story of why, right? So I heard it from my biological mother, who I don't talk to anymore these days. But I also heard other various versions of the story. Not only that, but guess what? You could have secrets play out. You know what just happened when I found out this last year? That I'm a twin, right? That I'm very much a twin. And so like you could have stuff pop up decades after stuff like this goes down. After you meet your family, I mean. And you could be unraveling stuff that, it's a whole burden by itself. But okay, going back, why were you adopted? As a kid, you know how hard that is to answer. And again, what does it make you think of? Damn, I'm different. Damn, I don't know. Why was I adopted? How the fuck am I supposed to answer that question when I'm a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old? Hell, even a young adult. How in the hell are you supposed to answer that? I don't know. Poverty, I'm guessing. That's what we fall back on, but there could be 10,000 things attached to poverty: mental health, political strife, extremely conservative societies, like I've talked about in past videos here in Paraguay, lifestyles of a mother or a father or something like that, so there could be 10,000 reasons under the sun that even when you show up here, or anywhere, or where you're meeting your family, that it's an incredibly complex answer. So for you to be thrown that question as a kid before you even turn 18, it's a hard one. And again, it reminds you that of your trauma. Every single one of these questions reminds you of your trauma. Right. So they're really dumb questions to ask an adopted kid. Right. Hell, even an adopted person at all. These are, and again, a lot of times people don't think about this. They just start fucking saying stupid shit, etc. Yeah. Okay. So let's address the last quote. Where are you really from? Okay. This one is very complicated. And it shouldn't be, right? From anybody outside looking in, right? So in my case, I spent a long time, right? I spent a long time trying to be, to fit in, right? Whether it be in sports, in society in general. I wanted to keep up with the newest trends, the newest this, the newest that. I wanted to play the most competitive sports imaginable. Wrestled my first year of high school, did varsity football, boxed, etc. but also culturally as well. I hung out with mostly Mexican Americans, other folks as well, right? Other races as well, but predominantly. And then so like even culturally, like I was going to quinceañeras, and I was dancing, all that stuff, right? Just to fit in, right? And so whether you're trying to fit into America culture, whatever the hell that is, or adjacent cultures to where you think that you come from, right? Or where you know where you come from. So for me, hanging out with other Latinos, etc. This question weighs very hard because in different stages of your life, you could be wanting to just fit in, and what you really want is for people to fucking stop asking you this question, right? Because again, you're reminded once again that you are an other, once again, right? And again, some people are at different ages. They could care more about this or less about this, right? My sister, who's also adopted from Paraguay, struggled with this question as well because she just wanted people to just stop asking her. It's like, well, you don't just see me as American as everybody else? For what? Because I'm brown, So I get it, right? And again, this is internal stuff, right? But it's deep internal stuff. And, a lot of things may seem unfair, that you're going through. And a lot of things may seem unpleasant. And a lot of these questions, once again, will either make you feel like an other or bring up trauma or remind you that no matter what you do, the majority of society is not going to see you as American or Canadian because you're always something else in front of American. You're always whatever. Again, this is not to like call out and be like, oh, we're just like all these like fake victimhood. It's not to do that. It's just to understand on a deeper level, because once again, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. You're adopted. You're not part of a bigger, unless you try to be, a bigger group of people. Meaning like, yes, you can hang out with other Latinos and stuff like I did, but it's going to be 10 times harder for you to be able to relate, whether it's language, whether it's you're catching up on, or you're trying to learn the culture while they're coming from that. And there may be 24 other kids their age who are in their position, but there's almost nobody in your position, There's a wonderful adopted group that we got together with in our elementary years with other adopted families, and I don't know what happened to that group, but it just phased out and stopped. But I kind of wish that would have continued. Again, I don't really know what happened. It was like the parents organizing it, so us elementary age kids could be around other adoptees. I thought that was really great. If there's anything like that in your city or your area, try to continue that stuff through middle school and high school years. Hell, even after that, right? Because again, usually we're very isolated when we're coming from these situations, right? Usually we have almost nobody to relate to us, right? Which is a big reason why I'm actually doing this video right now, because I want younger folks to see, or anybody, or people my age to see that, it's complicated shit. And I feel you, right? And you can meet your family and keep stuff going, live a good life. Hell, even like me, move to the country where you were born, where you have biological family, and see if you can make some stuff work, so you can enjoy life abroad, where you already have a familial social net. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Okay. I'm going to dive a little bit into these articles. I know this is going to be a little bit longer video. Anyways, it says in the final blog of Mental Health Awareness Month, we're exploring narrative burden, the emotional weight adoptees carry when constantly asked to explain their stories. Yes. Have you ever felt caught between honoring others and honoring yourself? So yeah, we're going to start off with this blog here. Okay. I haven't read this yet, so this is just raw reaction, you guys. Just let y'all know. Okay, so Mental Health Awareness Month, Unspoken Adoptee Stressors Part 2. Wait, is there Part 1? Did I miss Part 1? I think I had these pulled. Okay, Part 1. Okay, let's start with Part 1, actually. So Part 1, the Ghost Kingdoms. Unspoken Adoptee Stressors, okay? I don't know what that means, so let's find out. Okay, adoptees, their loved ones, and mental health. Adoptees and their loved ones often face a unique set of mental health challenges. Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, so adoptees and their loved ones also face a unique set of mental health challenges that can affect their everyday lives, relationships, and experiences. As part of Mental Health Awareness Month, we are addressing 3 unspoken stressors that often affect adoptees and their loved ones. The ghost kingdoms, the weight of the narrative and adoptee loyalty, and the push and pull of belonging. First up, ghost kingdoms. Okay, this is interesting. I've never heard this stuff before, you guys. Again, this is great for folks who are going through it, right? And again, go follow Ties on all their stuff, Instagram. I don't know. I'm sure they're on there, Facebook, and wherever else they are. Because Ties is wonderful, man. Even if I did have some critiques of their travel stuff, Ties is absolutely wonderful. Okay, so what is a ghost kingdom? Everyone has a life or more than one life in their head that they could have lived. Mm-hmm. These alternative lives are referred to as ghost kingdoms. In most of our fantasies, they are idealized, perfect lives. For non-adoptees, this might just be that sprawling farm in the country with a host of animals. Or just the opposite, the life in a large city where they go to the theater, museums, and eat at fancy restaurants every night. Okay. So the alternative lives, are the ghost kingdoms. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for adoptees and their loved ones, these are much more complex and don't always have positive or perfect connotations. For an adoptee, it's often the life they would have lived with their birth family. Yes, I very much, yeah. Okay. We'll just keep going and then I'll comment after. For an adoptee, it's often, or the life they would have lived if they'd grown up in an orphanage in foster care, or with another adoptive family. For some adoptive parents, it's the life that would have happened if they had biological children or chosen to not have raised children. Okay. For birth families, it's the life that they would have lived if they raised their child. The complexities of these ghost kingdoms in the adoption community often require processing at a greater level. Yeah. Because for adoptees, we often imagine, like I did, I often imagine I would have been a street kid for sure. I probably would have gotten deep into crime, for sure. Just knowing how I was as an adolescent. And for sure. Okay, how to process ghost kingdoms. Sarah Kurtzan, Thai Senior Program Manager and Adoption Competent Therapist says, acknowledge the ghost kingdoms if you have, allow yourself and those adoptees and loved ones that surround you to grieve the life you would have lived. Let yourself dream about it and allow any sadness to occur and then let it pass. Okay. Acknowledging could look like journaling, writing stories, making music, painting, or a wide variety of other creative endeavors. Absolutely. You guys, a lot of the stuff I get out is through music, is through this channel. This is a form of journaling, getting your thoughts out in this kind of way, right? Pure reactions to what you're reading and interpreting in real time. Okay. So I can go back to this video 5 years from now and be like, wow, I remember the very date that I learned about ghost kingdoms. Which is essentially fantasies that we play out in our mind, but they're complicated for us because we know that, most people's fantasies, like they said, is like living in New York City or on a farm somewhere. But for us, most of the time, our fantasies is what would have been the life I would have lived if I was not adopted. Okay. So anyway, let's continue. So, some people need to see their thoughts physically in the world. Others might need a space to talk through their possible life stories with a good trusted friend, support person, or therapist. Absolutely. And again, when I was seeking therapy, hardcore in my mid to late 20s, my therapist kept bringing up that I have a lot of trauma that I just didn't even really think about recently. And this is even after I met my family. That, there's certain things I didn't have, certain things that I felt that he was thinking that were playing out in my adult life, right? So for sure. Okay. These kingdoms are often going to crop up around challenging times and experiences. Yes. Okay. Yes. I can certainly agree with that. They can also lead to very healing experiences if they are brought to the surface and worked through rather than ignored. Okay. Agreed. Okay. Okay. I don't know if we're going to get into all this. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Let's just finish it off. Okay, ghost kingdoms and heritage travel. On ties trips, adoptees and their loved ones often get to see and confront their ghost kingdoms. Okay, as I did, the scene where I came from, realizing the country that I was from, some pretty extreme poverty, especially 15 years ago, around then, for sure. Even seeing people's daily struggles, for sure. Okay. As they drive down the road, they see homes, that maybe they would have lived in, or they're sharing a meal with families of their country of origin and culture of origin. Okay. Yeah, we'll skip that. For some Chinese adoptees, they may experience a ghost kingdom when visiting their orphanage or foster family. Okay. Yeah, I tried to see the orphanage, a tiny little orphanage, but it didn't exist anymore. Otherwise, I would have, right? It was more of a care home rather than like a true orphanage. I would have been in more of a true orphanage if I wouldn't have been adopted as a child. Okay. To assist adoptees and their loved ones, and not just experiencing these ghost kingdoms, ties trips provide processing of them through our connect and chat, adoptee only shared spaces and talk times, sharing spaces for adult loved ones traveling. One-on-one conversations with our expert team and participant-to-participant conversations. Okay, very interesting. All right, see, I didn't even know that Ties did all this. So, yeah, once again, Ties is awesome. And, yeah. Okay, this scene of the life that they or their loved ones could have lived on heritage trips often leads to healing experiences. Not necessarily that their current life is better, but that there is more of a concrete context of what life could have looked like. Mm-hmm. After trips, adoptees and their loved ones often remark that they feel a sense of peace, having seen what their lives have looked like. Yeah. In recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, I believe that was May here, my birth month. We want to highlight the importance of caring for your emotional well-being. Healing and exploration are deeply personal, and it's okay to seek help along the way. If you find yourself needing support, please know you are not alone. We encourage you to explore Adoptee resources and family resources for tools, support, and connection tailored to your journey. Okay, cool. So you guys know a little bit more that they have more stuff as well, just as their program. Okay, let's dive into part 2 now. Now let's just see how long it is. Okay, it's not that long actually. Okay, we're gonna do this part 2, and then we're gonna wrap up the video here, and then I'll be sure to do more stuff around adoption, because there's not much about adoption besides a few people's adoption reuniting stories, but hardly anybody talks about the profound stuff that you have to deal with as an adoptee, right? So that's where I'll come in. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The weight of the narrative. Again, this is unspoken adoptee stressors. Okay, so adoptees, their loved ones, and mental health. Adoptees and their loved ones often face a unique set of mental health challenges that can affect their everyday lives. Oh yeah. Okay. Wait. Am I reading the same thing? No, this is part 2. Okay. What is narrative burden? Few groups of people are asked more questions about their life stories than adoptees and their loved ones. Actually, yeah, no, for sure. So, well, yeah, we are, asked quite a few more questions than your average person, right? Because other people's stories are much easier to comprehend. Even an immigrant story, it's like, okay, well, yeah, I understand. Okay, context. Okay, you came here, but ours are so complex and unique and different that people want to pick apart everything. So I totally understand that. From a kid all the way till now. Okay. So some of these questions are, why were you adopted? Why did you adopt? Where are your biological parents? Or worse, who are their real parents and where are you from? Okay. So in the beginning of this, I addressed these, so I'm not going to do that again, but yeah, because these are just a few of the many questions asked of adoptees and their loved ones. While many times these questions come from a place of loving curiosity, they don't always feel that way. Yes, that's exactly what I talked about in the beginning. A lot of people don't think that these are harmful questions, but they're complex. Again, they bring up you thinking about your trauma, you thinking about your past, you thinking about the reasons why you are where you are. And it's not as simple as like a more normal story, right? Okay. So it's very possible that the answers to all these questions are we don't know. Some adoptees may have some vague details. For example, I was found on a street corner in India, a place I don't remember and haven't been to since. Okay. These questions not only place the burden on adoptees and their loved ones to explain themselves, they force them to question their very existence and to explain their existence to others. Yeah. Repeatedly answering these deep personal questions can be exhausting in ways that are hard to describe. Absolutely. Some might be dismissive or challenge what you know about your story. There's subtle and overt reactions that adoptees must learn to navigate when telling these intimate parts of their story to a wide audience. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm a straight fucking goon. I don't care. I'll just fucking say anything, especially nowadays with my channel. Like, I don't shy away from stuff anymore. But when I was younger, hell yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't know, just whatever, man. I don't fucking just shut up and stop asking me shit. You know? So I totally get it, man. But now I try to be create more of a open narrative and conversation, right? For anybody who comes across this video in the future. Okay. Lightening the load. First, acceptance. These questions are going to come. As humans, we are naturally curious, and asking questions is often how we build connection. But acceptance doesn't mean that you have to answer these questions if you don't want to. It's okay to redirect the conversation. Yeah. Yeah, I got these all the time, man. Right. And I didn't even realize that it also bothered my sister until relatively recently. When she said, yeah, I hated always getting this fucking question, where are you from? Because it's not a simple answer, right? It's not like, oh, I'm from Paraguay. Okay, well, why's your last name this then? Why is it American? Or because there's not just one question. There's fucking 10 follow-up questions after that, because it's like it doesn't satisfy what they want to hear, or if they don't place you in their little wherever they think you belong in society or whatever, then there's the follow-up questions. And it's just like, so you don't fucking feel like being interrogated all the goddamn time. And again, I know this is human curiosity, like it was saying, but at the same time, we're arguably some of the most traumatized individuals, from birth. So anyways, let's keep going. Okay. Okay. Second, surround yourself with people who have similar narratives where you don't have to explain yourself. Yeah, for sure. Or even if they're not similar narratives, just people who like are good friends will just like, they'll get it one day, right? They know you. Seek families that look like yours through community groups, support groups, culture camps, and yes, heritage trips. Okay, they're really marketing there. That's okay though. I'll let them do their thing. Lifting the burden and heritage travel. There's a remarkable thing that happens on Ty's heritage trips because everyone shares a similar origin story. And no one asks why your family looks the way it does, and no one asks about biological parents. Therefore, no one is asked to carry the burden of the narrative story. In this is freedom, connection, and community. Okay? Yeah, for sure. I can see where absolutely these trips serve as that. A reminder that if you don't see our post on Ghost Kingdoms to check check that out. Next up, we'll cover adoptee loyalty and the push and pull of belonging. In recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, we want to highlight the importance of caring for your emotional well-being. Healing and exploration are deeply personal, and it's okay to seek help along the way. If you find yourself needing support, please know you're not alone. We encourage you to explore the resources and family resources and tool support and connection tailored to your journey. Okay, cool. Well, we're going to stop there, you guys. A pretty long video. We're going to stop there, and I can just say that I absolutely relate and I absolutely agree. Sorry, my dog's going crazy outside. I can relate and agree with both parts of this. Ghost Kingdoms is very interesting, kind of the fantasy that you think of if you weren't adopted and you were going to be in a certain situation, right? A precarious situation. And then here, the weight of the narrative, right? These are hard things to deal with, right? I guess the last things I'll say is just stick in there, right? What this isn't covering is, I'll just be open, but a lot of us, and I'm sure they address this as well in other segments and other posts and stuff, but a lot of us, like I said, because we're highly traumatized, we don't really realize how some of this stuff affects us as adults. So you'll go through deep mental stuff, right? You may not seek the best outlets. I haven't always sought the best outlets to deal with this stuff, just being honest. And I know that I'm not the only one, but try to deal with this through good outlets, journaling, music, talking to others who are in similar situations. Like they said that there are these group chat things, right? So dive deeper into their resources and tools, for sure. And yeah, otherwise just hang in there, man. I know that a lot of us struggle with mental health issues and even suicidal thoughts and ideation, right? So, I've dealt with that. It's hard to talk about. I totally get it. You know, and, but you're not alone in this world. I guarantee you're not alone. Even though it may feel like it, even though it may feel like you're an other, that you're alienated from very young years all the way through your adult years. And then again, if you do a journey and you successfully meet your family, there's a whole nother journey after that of responsibility, belonging, learning your culture, learning the language, etc. And it's very profound stuff that hardly anybody is going to understand, right? Anyways, so yeah, that's all I can really say. Just hang in there. You young men and women, this is hard stuff, right? This is very hard stuff to deal with. But I understand you. I fucking get it, right? Your brother here understands, right? So hit me up on Instagram if you want to chat this out. Comment below if you want to create more open dialogue. Hit me up. And yeah, otherwise I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Again, this is Ryan Aranda. My Best Life Paraguay. My Best Life Paraguay. Been living here for about a year. And I feel ya. So, peace out. Take care, y'all.